And thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Gordon. The Department of Justice has sent letters to all 50 states plus Washington, D.C., warning of possible criminal prosecution for state election officials over non-citizen voting. Celine Stevens is live at the Multnomah County Elections Division with more about what this means. Celine.
Tim, so I heard from Oregon's Secretary of State Tobias today, and he says he received that letter yesterday, describing it as laughable. Now, the Trump administration has portrayed non-citizen voting to be a widespread issue, but those that I spoke with today say that's just not true.
And I just sort of smile because, Oregon's elections are safe and accurate and fair.
Letters from the Department of Justice sent to all 50 states and the District of Columbia, warning of potential criminal penalties for election officials who fail to carry out their duties properly when it comes to non-citizen voting.
I think this is just another desperate kind of performative episode from the federal government that is continuing to try to justify their baseless conspiracy theories and searching for election fraud that doesn't exist.
The letter, including a list of federal law requirements for state and local election officials.
Voting is what we do to hold politicians and government accountable. And I think this president knows that his policies and his administration are not popular. And I think he fears the accountability that an election represents.
The document also stating that an election officer could be criminally liable for aiding and abetting those provisions or knowingly including non-citizens on the state voter registration list.
I'm not intimidated by the federal government. I am not afraid of this kind of manufactured controversy.
A statement from the Department of Justice states they are asking for voluntary compliance in a timely manner with their obligations under federal law to ensure only citizens vote in federal elections. Lewis and Clark Law School professor Tung Yin says non-citizen voting is not as widespread as the president has made it seem.
All the studies that I've seen have suggested that it's as far as we can tell, a very, 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 very tiny fraction of all votes cast would be potentially disqualifiable.
When it comes to the reality of successfully criminally prosecuting election officials,
it's not enough to say that, hey, you know what, we scoured the records and we found that there were 2 or 3 or whatever number of people who shouldn't have been allowed to vote who voted. It has to be that the election official knowingly and willfully allowed this to happen.
The letter also asks for states' responses within 5 days regarding how they intend to comply with federal laws.
If we choose to send something directly back to them, is going to be largely a version of what I'm saying to you today is we do our job. Thanks for reminding us of the federal law, which we follow. We will remind them perhaps as well of their continued efforts to go beyond their authority.
So Professor Yin also made a point to mention that while there are many ways that the administration could try and prosecute an official, it's a matter of whether they'd actually be successful, as they have to prove any violation was done willfully and knowingly. And of course, the courts would also likely have many ways they could fight back against this as well. Back to you.
All right. Thanks, Celine, very much.